all you Minties, and welcome back to another episode of Reelz Talk with your host, the amazing Amanda, my lovely co-host, the uncanny Omar.
How's it going, everybody? Thank you for joining us, and whew, hope you're not tired of my voice. This is the third video I'm on, second live stream, and
You've had a busy Sunday.
I've had a busy weekend. I've had a busy weekend, yeah.
Well, what it is, you were up. We were up a little late last night.
I think we got home at like 3 or something, but well worth it. I needed some time off, and that was a really nice time off. So, yeah, today what are we talking about today, Amanda?
Yeah, we are talking about Netflix adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender. It came out on the 22nd, so on Thursday. There's 8 episodes, and basically the first season of, I'm assuming hopefully more than one season of this show, maybe more than one season, follows the entire arc of season 1 of the original animated series from Nickelodeon that came out in 2008, Avatar: The Last Airbender. The original creators were originally attached to this production. However, they did leave in, I think, 2020. I think it was 2020 or no, 2021 maybe.
So why? Do you know why they left?
They said creative differences.
I wonder why. Okay, I'm curious.
Yeah, I am curious. I am curious about that. And no, Phil, we are not surprised to learn that you have
not seen. Have you seen the original cartoon, Phil?
Yes, the original. You should. There are a few masterpieces. Oh, you know what I forgot? Hold on. I'm gonna remove it.
Okay. This has become the Omar show now. How's everybody doing? Welcome to another episode of Near Mint Condition, where I am the host.
Okay.
And never mind. I just got booted off. There we go. Okay.
So I have okay, well, because I have I was trying to tell Phil, you should watch this show. So the funny thing is, this show came out.
She for real said hold on to the entire internet, not just me. Like she left.
Hold on. So the original show,
Mark Edgelord. No. It's Giga Chad. The Giga Chad. All right.
The original show came out in 2008 when I was already graduating from college. I actually didn't watch the entire. I didn't watch the entire thing until I was already in my mid-20s. So you have to understand how good a cartoon or animated series has to be that it would capture the attention and the love and the heart of a mid-20s something young woman who could watch anything she wanted, and she chooses to watch this because I think it was on Netflix at the time. It was on
in 2008. I want to say
not 2008, but I didn't watch it. I didn't watch the actual seasons until like
when it became streaming. Yeah,
maybe 2013, 2014. So by then it probably wasn't streaming.
Wow, I was in elementary school when the OG show came out. Every kid was obsessed with it. And just like that, everyone's making me and Phil feel really old.
Yeah,
because I was married when this show premiered. It was the year I got married in 2008, and it premiered. My brother was obsessed with it. He was like, you got to watch Avatar. And I'm like, I don't know about these American, what did I call them? I called them like faux anime. Yeah, I'm like, this isn't real anime, dude. If I wanted to watch anime, I'd watch anime. And he's like, no, it's good. So it took me a couple of years I ended up I think I bought the DVDs as they were coming out, and I found a good deal, and I watched them, and I was like, oh, this is really good. I really liked it. But go ahead, tell me your story. When did you decide to watch it in your 20s? And
then I fell in love with it so much so that I have here's my Zuko, because
well, you actually have a toy. Let me see.
Oh this. Yeah, look at my little Zuko. Oh, this Zuko right here. I have such a huge crush on cartoon Zuko. It's not even funny. Especially when he has yes. Yeah, I even have my favorite, like
this. He is very emo. I could see that.
Right here. Like tell me so.
Oh my god.
I love emo Zuko so much.
Okay, so what else you got?
His little like pop figure.
You're a big fan of Zuko. That is Rufio does his voice, right? Like
Rufio does Dante.
Rufio
voice, yeah.
Yeah. I tell you what, the kid that did Zuko in this show was awesome. He really nailed it. Yes, I thought he was one of the better actors in the show, which I know we're not gonna jump right in yet, but we'll
Yeah.
We'll get there. YouTubers says make more shorts. Omar's like old cigarette and press the live button. That's right, baby. How are you, Alex? Hope you're doing well, my brother. So this show has been in the works for a while. Go ahead.
2018, I think, is when they announced they were going to do a live action. Originally, Bosco, with the original creators, which is Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian, gonna mispronounce his name, Konietzko, I think. Also, they were also responsible for Legends of Korra, which is the follow-up to Avatar: The Last Airbender, where we get the water tribe Airbender, right? So they're also responsible for that. And I think Kane was saying that that Nickelodeon's offering them some type of a deal for them to make like a movie about something that takes place, which would be awesome to see what was going on.
Oh yeah, because not to spoil. This is gonna be okay. We're only going to spoil season 1 of the Netflix show, and when we do, we're gonna do this very similar to the way we did One Piece. Not really compare and contrast what it's missing, because I think it's unfair to do that. So we're just focusing on the Netflix Avatar: Last Airbender show.
Yes.
In case people even haven't seen the animated show and they're like, oh, now I got to go and check it out. There is a movie in the works that takes place between Aang and Korra. I will say, without spoiling, that would be cool. That would be cool to see that, because we do have that missing gap as to what happened to some of these folks.
Yes.
Amanda, this is where the famous Amanda.
Except for the fact he's in a bad, terrible, bad movie.
You really did not like that movie.
I really did not like M. Night Shyamalan's adaptation of this movie. For this animated series. So you can see I went into this with a slight bit of trepidation, because I had already seen, minus Dev Patel. Dev Patel is a fantastic actor. He still did Zuko just fine, but the rest of it was
dude, I've never seen that. I've never seen that movie. I feel like the show only exists since we still have an X amount of people who refuse to watch animation. I try to make that same comment, and then somebody blasted me for saying that when I said Spider-Verse, people don't go to see cartoons.
They did blast you, didn't they?
And by they, I mean Amanda. And she was right. Right. Holy crap, that animated movie that I didn't think people would go and pay to see blew the movie theaters out of the water. Like, if it wasn't for, I guess it came in 3rd or 4th last year as far as the highest grossing movies.
Yeah, it did.
Huge. Struggling to get through the Netflix adaptation, hard watch. Yeah, we're gonna talk about things that are working, things that aren't working. William is saying it's garbage. Good night, everyone. But that is really sweet of William just to say good night, everyone. All right. I couldn't tell. Did Amanda like the movie? Oh, she loves the movie. Loves the movie.
There's nothing I dislike more than that movie.
I was going to ask, have you read any of the Avatar comics?
I did read
Dark Horse has been releasing these beautiful library editions of them.
Oh, well,
and I never asked them to send me any, because I was like, well, I would be completely lost. But now that I know you, maybe you can do an overview of them.
I would love to do an overview, because I wanted to know what happened to Katara's mother. And I know that was like one of the storylines they discuss in the comic books that you don't get to see.
That's kind of cool.
And she goes and asks Fire Lord Ozai, I'm spoiling the 3rd season of Avatar: The Last Airbender, what'd you do with my mother? Right? So they're trying to figure out what happened to her. Or not her. I'm sorry, Zuko. I apologize. Zuko's mother.
That's right.
That's the one. Where's my mother? That's the one. I'm like, I'm thinking Katara. They both
Dragon Ball Evolution or Last Airbender. Is this FMK? Because I'd kill both of them.
I
haven't even seen Last Airbender.
One of them, but because I love Airbender more, like personally, I would kill that, because Dragon Ball Z is still hilarious to watch. Yes, you're right. The first one is Zuko's mom. That's the one. Yes.
Good. Nitpicking is so trendy. Well, let's jump in here and get everybody to discuss with us what we like. But actually, really quick though, Josh has a really good question. Would you recommend this over the animated? Amanda said no. Me also no. But I also understand that some people cannot watch animation. It would be like asking, do I recommend One Piece live action over the animated? And I almost want to say yes if you don't like long, drawn out stories, because it's so condensed, but it's the good things that's condensed. Whereas this, interesting choices were made. Okay, let's go ahead and start. Amanda and Omar, both Dragon Ball Evolution, 1 out of 10. Wow.
If we have
You
not,
did not like it.
we have not reviewed the Airbender. I think they just called it Airbender movie that M. Night Shyamalan did. But if we reviewed it, I can guarantee you my score would be that or lower.
Let's get really drunk and then review.
That'll
Tell
be
me
what
what
we'll
you
review
really think.
So yeah, so this show came out on Thursday. It is 8 episodes. It is created by Albert Kim, who is also produced the TV show Sleepy Hollow. Nikita, I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with Nikita and Sleepy Hollow, very popular. And yeah, they did a lot with this one. Obviously, they stayed true to the roots of the characters in that they casted characters of Asian descent, which was much lauded because of we all remember the M. Night Shyamalan movie. They did not do that. They casted the one guy who played Jasper from Twilight to play Sokka, which was the absolute worst. And I'm sorry, we're not going to talk about this movie anymore because it just makes me so angry. So let's just not talk about it. Yes.
What is that?
Well, if we get to the SAG Awards.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Pascal. Anyways, so it does take place over the 8 episodes does span the first season of Avatar: The Last Airbender animated series. They do have to truncate some of the series because obviously the first season was 20 episodes. It's only 8, and even though they're an hour long, there are still some things they chose to not, the little side adventures that the Team Avatar go on in that first season, they choose not to do. They merge some of the storylines. For example, when they go to Amashu and then the Jet storyline, when they're introduced to Jet and his freedom fighters, those two storylines are also merged, which I had mixed feelings about. I don't think that worked very well in merging those two storylines. But essentially, for those who aren't familiar with Avatar: Last Airbender, let me give you a quick what this is. There are 4 nations: air, earth, fire, and water, the 4 elements. And they all lived in harmony. And there was one person who could master all 4 elements, and that person is the Avatar. And every generation, there is a new Avatar, usually from a different tribe, and it kind of goes in order of each different nation until the Fire Lord or the Fire Nation decided they were destined to rule everyone. And that is Fire Lord Sozin. And he decides to wipe out all of the Airbenders because that would be the next Avatar. And he decides to lay waste or create war against all the other nations. So that takes place. That's the whole idea behind the show. Our main character is Aang, or one of our main characters is Aang, who is the Airbender Avatar. And a little different in the show, he kind of runs away from the TV animated series. He's kind of running away from his duties. And I think he does the same thing here, but he ends up in a storm, and him and Appa end up getting, thrown into the ocean. And then he goes in the Avatar state, which is a special state you go in, and he lights up. And I have a clip of it. I think, do I have a clip of the Avatar state? No, apparently I don't. Why don't I have the clip? Anyways, so he encases himself in an iceberg, essentially like a ball of ice, and he stays there for 100 years. And then these 2 young children from the water tribe in the South Pole, Katara and Sokka, they're out and about, and they encounter Aang in the iceberg. The iceberg breaks. Aang wakes up. He thinks he's only been out for a few days, but he's been out for 100 years.
100 years. Wow.
Yes. So with that being said, he now goes on a journey, to figure out what's happened in the last 100 years, to kind of take responsibility for being the Avatar, learn all the other 3 elements, so that he can master all the elements. And he takes Sokka and Katara on his journey. And throughout the season, they meet different characters. You have one person named Zuko, who I've already talked about several times. Look at that guy. Look at him. He is the prince of the Fire Nation, and he has been exiled because he spoke out of turn at his father's war council. And Fire Lord Ozai is the worst parent in the world and decided to punish him by challenging him to an Agni Kai. Yeah, Agni Kai. and he ends up burning his own child to prove a point, and then tells him, you can reclaim your honor, which they don't do this enough. They don't talk about honor enough in this show. And that is the central theme to Zuko. It's a joke throughout the whole thing. He's always like, my honor. And in order to reclaim his honor, he has to hunt down the Avatar. He thinks
wait, is this true? Because I thought about the Cabbage guy. I heard the Cabbages guy from the cartoon played the live action Cabbages guy.
Yep, that's awesome. Guy. That's awesome. And I'm glad they kept the Cabbage guy in there. I mean, they used the Cabbage guy later on in season 3 when they go see a play about themselves.
Wow, you really like I've only seen Avatar once. I liked it. You really liked it. I want Amanda, next tattoo. I got you. Look, hear me out.
I'm not doing. I would never do. Hear me out. Character. Anyway, so now I lost my train of thought. So Zuko is on a quest to find the Avatar, who he thinks is going to be an old man because it's been 100 years. But it turns out it's just a kid. He's with his uncle Iroh. His uncle is kind of supporting him. He's gone through his own journey. He used to be this amazing general, but then after the death of his son, he kind of lost all the will for battle and war. And his brother, who is the Fire Lord, thinks he's a disgrace, for lack of a better word. So he sends him with Zuko, and the two of them for like 3 years have been hunting the Avatar with their crew. So they finally are able to, they finally see him, they find him. There's things that happen in the season where they're captured, they're not captured. There's a nice part that I'm glad they kept the blue spirit in here, because that's a really awesome scene. That's a really awesome episode in the original animated series where there is a General Zhao and he captures the Avatar General Zhao once his own.
We have 2 cast members from Lost in this.
Yes.
The guy that's playing General Zhao and the guy that's playing Fire Lord Ozai. Like both of them. And Zhao blows it out of the water. Like, I thought he did good. I liked him.
I liked him a lot.
I'm a little disappointed in the performance by Daniel Day Kim. I didn't really dig it.
I think,
but I know he's a different type of character.
Yes.
I don't know. It just didn't seem. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So anyways, they did get the great scene of how Zuko doesn't want General Zhao to be the one to return the Avatar, so he dons the blue spirit mask that he has and actually saves Aang, and they have this conversation together, just like they do in the animated series, but how they're not so different, and that they could have been friends in another life. Spoiler alert, they do become friends. They do, and it is fantastic. And it is the best. Oh my God, season 3 of this, I could just go on about. We should do. I don't know. I love season 3.
Season 1 of the Netflix show first.
I love this animated series so much. Okay, so that's a storyline. Of course, you also have the other 2 leads are Katara and Sokka. They are brother and sister. Sokka is older. Katara is younger. Katara is the last waterbender of her tribe. In fact, the Fire Nation had tried to eliminate all the waterbenders and had either killed them, taken them into custody, put them in prisons, etc., because that would have been the next Avatar if they thought they had killed the Airbender Avatar. So which of course Korra is a waterbender. So there we go. When you get to the next chapter of this whole saga. So she's the last waterbender of her tribe. Her mother actually had to lie and say she was the waterbender and was taken by the Fire Nation a long time ago to protect her daughter. And so she's dealing with a lot of that guilt and also trying to learn these skills that she has no master, no teacher, because no one in her tribe can do it. And of course, she's very excited to meet Aang because not only is he a bender, he's also the Avatar. And this is a chance for her to really grow into her power and explore. They defeat the Fire Nation. Oh my God!
Anime.
The ending of season 3, the way they figured out how to get I know. It's so good.
You know what? You want to review Avatar: The Last Airbender, the cartoon? I will come back and rewatch it for you. Right now, let's focus on season 1 so we don't spoil what happens later.
I know, but it's so good. Okay. Anyway,
I know. Now you understand my my problem when I was reviewing One Piece, because the good stuff is yet to come, and and it's hard not to talk about it.
Exactly. I mean, we haven't even met Toph yet. And okay, anyway. Or Uncle Iroh's Tea Palace. So, yes. So Qatar is very excited to, want to go with Aang. Meanwhile,
Mhm.
Sokka, his father has left pretty much to find the Fire Lord, the Fire Nation troops that had taken his wife, and he has been gone with his troops, his warriors for a good amount of time, as long as their mother has been gone. So Sokka's kind of stepped into the role of being like the warrior of the tribe, and I like that they did this in the animated series. You see him trying to train a bunch of children, and they do the same thing in the live action in the first episode. So I appreciated that. That was very similar to what they did in the first episode of the animated series. And has this struggle where he's kind of, he's a jokester. He makes jokes, trying to compensate for the insecurities that he has deep down inside. And he wants to be a good warrior, but he's also very good with coming up with plans, being a mastermind, which in the animated series you see as he grows. You get to see that a lot, and you start to see it here a little bit. They kind of used the Mechanist, which is played by Danny
Danny
Pudi.
Pudi, yeah.
Yeah,
With a beard and looking like a dad. It's so weird. Because we're rewatching Community. I was telling my daughters, I'm like, that's Abed. And they were like, what? I'm like, that's Abed.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome. So you get to see some of that play out. So those are our three main characters that are going on their journey. Along the way, they meet some great supporting cast members. They meet, of course, Suki. She is one of the warriors of Kyoshi. Kyoshi was the former avatar from the Earth Nation, and they visit them in order he wants to visit the Avatar Temple, kind of see if he can talk to her, learn from her, and of course, they have Zuko trailing.
Oh, and that girl that played Zuki, my goodness.
Yes, yeah.
That is a sharp-looking girl. Oh my God! Wait. Let me double check. She's a pretty girl. I'm just gonna play it safe. I have no idea how old that lady is.
Who did not check?
I usually have you check before I make that mistake. She's a pretty girl. Oh, yes. But what's her name? The assassin. That girl that plays the assassin or the bounty hunter. What's her name?
Oh God, I know. With her little.
There's so many characters in this. What the heck is her name?
It's June.
Yes. She's super hot.
She is, but that's one of the scenes when we talk about visual effects. Sorry.
Visual effects. Yes. Do go on.
I had she's my age. That's good to know. James, thank you.
The bounty hunter's 38. Wow, dude, super hot. Goodness.
Well, I mean, I'm 38. I mean,
you're not a bounty hunter. Okay. You have a Fallout Boy tattoo, not a badass bounty hunter tattoo that she's got on her arm.
She's
okay. Gentlemen, thank you. Get that shit out of the bed. He's 24, Omar. You're good. Thank you.
Okay. So yes.
Go on.
All right. So you also get to meet.
And Kimiko was in here. My brother and I watched episode 2 together.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the girl from Karate Kid Part 2. She also comes back, of course, in Cobra Kai.
Wait, who did she play?
She's really, really pretty. And I was like, I know this girl from somewhere. Where the heck do I know her from? And I kept looking at her face. She played Yukari.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I mean, she looks a little bit older, but her face and her voice was still the same as Kimiko from Karate Kid Part 2. Yeah, so that was really cool to see her. Visual FX is the best FX. Thank you, Joshua, for that.
Thanks for the super chat.
I knew her from somewhere. Yeah, I got excited. It was like that meme, Leonardo DiCaprio. Like I'm sitting there on the couch.
Oh, yes, that's a great one. Yeah, so they meet them. We also, on Zuko's side, we do get to meet General Zhao, played by Ken Wing from Lost. That's what I remember him from.
Which Rush Hour was he the villain in? He was one of the villains. Is it Rush Hour 2, maybe?
No, I think it was 3. I don't remember him in 2.
Maybe it was 1. Maybe he was the villain in Rush Hour 1. Yeah, he killed it in this. He was good.
Yeah, he was really good. So General Zhao is a general in the Fire Nation, and he wants his own fame and glory. So once he knows that the Avatar is alive, he kind of, I guess, goes behind Zuko's back, informs the Fire Lord of this. And we're also introduced to, when we meet the Fire Lord, Zuko's sister, Azula, and her friends, Ty Lee and May, which May could have been a little bit more deadpan like April from Parks and Rec, but that's fine. I know it's hard to encompass that because that's how she plays.
You have a lot of actors that are really young in this too.
A lot of young actors, a lot, yes. Which I mean, and they were trying to be more age realistic. I have thoughts on whether or not they could have aged.
Why would they do that? I have big thoughts on if this goes on and succeeds and becomes a season.
My big thing is when Katara and Aang kiss at the end of season or in
wait. My big thing is these kids
over already. It just looks
like the kid is going to age.
I hope so. Yes.
Like Aang, the kid that's playing Aang, is going to age.
Yes.
In between seasons 1 and 2, there's going to be a big growth spurt, I assume, because he was born in. I was looking. He was born in 2009, so after the show. Yeah, I know. yeah. Talk about feeling old. So if he was born in 2009, there's going to be a big growth spurt here in the between two seasons. So it's really taking a big chance.
It's like Daniel Radcliffe, who when he played Harry Potter, like there's going to come a time when you're going to see like his voice change and that dramatic, which is poor Daniel Radcliffe said he has to like, you get to see his puberty happening in real time, like especially from Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, Chamber of Secrets, when his voice was like cracking in places because he was getting older.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there's a good chance. But we also know how long it takes Netflix to make these shows.
Well, that's the other thing. All right, so what ends up happening in the season?
Yes, so of course, they go through different trials and tribulations. They meet people like the King of Omashu, King Boomy, who also happens to be a friend, long lost friend of Aang's, and Aang didn't even know that he was still alive after all this time, and he gets him through some riddles. We're also introduced to Jet, who's a freedom fighter, but he's kind of lost his way, and he's willing to throw the lives of civilians in the way to do what's right, is what he believes, and we'll see him again. Yes, so then you have them going up to the Northern Water Tribe, and that's kind of where this all ends, which is where they're trying. So that's where they can find a waterbending master for Katara. We're also introduced to Princess Yue, who falls in love with Sokka, and she's also like
that's she was in Predator, right? The same lady, the same girl.
Yeah, in Prey. Which I was a shame she really fall apart because she's only in those 2 episodes. And
Ember Midthunder. She has a badass name. I remember.
Yeah, she's like an awesome name.
And she's a badass. Yeah, she was Princess Yue in this.
Yeah, Princess Yue. So yes, and of course there's other journeys. I forgot about Ko, the Face Stealer. They have a journey into the spirit world for the first time, and that's where Aang's friends end up being trapped by Ko, the Face Stealer, and he has to journey.
Who was voiced by George Takei?
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A lot.
I like that.
Yeah,
and that was practical effects whenever they were using the close-ups on him.
And he was creepy, just as creepy as I imagined.
I thought it was. Well, I think the practical effects really helped with that, which we'll talk about this.
Yeah, because that helped a lot because he was really creepy. So, anyways, this all comes to a head, a big battle in the Northern Water Tribe. You have the General Zhao has brought his army up to attack them, and you have Katara fighting with the men of the Water Tribe because they don't let women fight. They only let them heal because you can use the water to heal, and you see that in the anime series.
Well, you saw it in here too.
Yeah, and you saw it in here. So, but she ends up proving that she's actually a very fearsome warrior, or she can be a very fearsome warrior. She's a very talented waterbender. And so it all comes to a head. General Zhao goes and visits this very sacred place in the Northern Water Tribe because obviously the moon, right? It affects the tides and stuff. And that's what they say is what gave the waterbenders their powers. And you have these 2 koi fish, black and white koi fish, that swim in harmony. And that is what keeps, the moon alive, essentially. And General Zhao comes and kills one of the fish, therefore destroying the moon, essentially, which would then, of course, destroy the waterbenders' powers. So Aang, upset as he is, takes on the spirit of the ocean spirit and goes in the Avatar state, starts attacking all of the firebending troops. And meanwhile, Princess Yue decides, okay, Aang cannot give himself over. She's like, I got my present from, I got my gift of life from the moon spirit. I have to give it back. She has to say tearful goodbye to Sokka. Then she goes into the waters and she becomes one with the moon spirit again.
Sokka got play in this season, man. That kid got lucky. He got cast as Sokka.
Dude, he gets played throughout in the anime.
Lucky dude, man.
Lucky guy, yeah. So he gets a lot of action, a lot of girls like Sokka. And so, but he does lose UA. They are able to defeat the Fire Nation, and of course, through the power of friendship, they're able to because the entire season, when he goes into the spirit world, visits these different avatars like Avatar Roku and Avatar Kyoshi, and then I forget the name. Is it Kuruk? I think it's Avatar Kuruk. Is the water tribe one that he visited. They're all telling you have to do this alone. You can't have anyone. It's very, very much like a Jedi, no attachments to the world. You just got to do it yourself. But of course, it's Katara that's able to help bring him out of this rage that he's in within the ocean spirit oneness, so he doesn't trap himself. And they are able to defeat the Fire Nation, rebuild, but little do they know that there's a ultimate plan called Sozin's Comet that we see Fire Lord Ozai and his commanders talking, or his like scientist people, mages, talking about at the end of the season. So we know that there's still more to come, that this is just not the end of it. There's more that Fire Lord Ozai is, plotting. And if you're familiar with the animated series, you know where the comet comes from. So that's in a nutshell.
Good job with that recap. Wonderful.
Yes.
I'm gonna say something before we start the review.
Okay.
I know that, I'm sure the show's divisive. Some people hate it. Some people cannot help but compare it to the original source material. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
What I'm going to say is I cannot believe we're living in a time where somebody decided to spend so much money on a gamble of a show. I will never forget Game of Thrones season 1. And if you watch Game of Thrones season 1, they had to cut the budget by skipping the biggest battle scene in season 1. There was no battle scene in season 1. Tyrion gets knocked out. So they're like, in the book, there's a huge battle and people were expecting it. Did not happen in the show because there wasn't enough money. It is insane that we had this big battle with, Ong going into and becoming. I'm sorry.
They call it Meg. That's what they did in the 2010 movie. They kept calling Ong, and everyone's like, "It's not Ong." So everyone was
my bad, girl. But it's just amazing. So I got to give credit where credit is due. Holy crap! Spend that much money, not just on special effects, but also practical effects of like this huge battle that takes place.
Yep,
that's insane. Considering Game of Thrones didn't have a big battle until like season 2. Leaving, Omar said, Ong, farewell.
Okay, Jaden, I corrected him. It's okay.
Don't worry. You know what? Nobody says my name right anyway. It's not Omar. It's Omar. All right. So now let's go back and talk about what worked and what didn't work with this.
Yes.
Not comparing it to the animated show. I think the cast was a problem, but I think that is usually a problem whenever you're cast, whenever the kids, it's really hard to cast kids.
Yes.
But it really relies heavily on your main actor, the kid that's going to be carrying the show. He's got to show empathy. He's got to be this example of hope and joy and everything bundled up into one, and then deliver some really powerful and meaningful lines. And I think it's difficult to do that. I thought he did okay. There were times that the lines didn't work.
Yeah.
I'm glad they did go with some unknowns. I'm glad they went, with, I guess, kids that kind of look like the characters from the show. And the character that played, the actor that played the Sokka, he had the hardest time, I'm sure, because it's hard to do stupid animated humor and translate that into live action humor. But it worked. Like, I think Sokka was a good cast. I liked him. Katara, unfortunately, was not. And Katara, to me, feels like she should be the heart of the show, the anchor that keeps Aang intact, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I know she's supposed to be, but I mean, if I had never seen the cartoon within the show, that's what she's supposed to be. She just didn't do it, man. She couldn't pull off some of those lines. Sometimes she looks so awkward just standing there when she was supposed to be reacting to the CG, to special effects. To I'm sure the director was like, "Hey, look over here! Everybody's looking over here." Because even in the background, you noticing, and it kind of takes you takes you out of the scene.
Oh yeah.
And I hate saying that because I'm sure she's got room to grow. She's still a young kid. She's probably going to be a kick-ass actor. But I mean, it's a hard sell.
Yeah.
I think that was my biggest problem with the show, was a lot of the cast. And honestly, the second biggest problem I had is who's the target audience for this show? Because you see death, you see people burning to death, right? So immediately it's it's more of a mature rating than the cartoon had. So you're catering to an audience that's like, it's a really weird audience, because I don't think Netflix can figure that out. Okay, are we doing a mature show? Because those kids that grew up watching Avatar are now old enough, and they're, they have families of their own.
Yeah.
And now let's make it an adult themed show by showing death and all that. Or do we still bring it down some and make it a family show? So it's a really weird rating for a show like this.
Yeah.
I don't understand like what it's supposed to be. Those are my two biggest flaws. I have a couple of other things I didn't like. What about you? What did not work for you?
So yes, for me, the biggest issue, it kind of goes hand in hand. Some of the casting and then the writing. So yes, for me, Katara was the weakest link when it came to the three main.
Yeah, because those are the big characters.
Avatar. Mm-hmm. Yes, because she is the one usually developed. She's usually supposed to be, the one delivering these heartfelt speeches.
Yeah, like when she's like, you're not my friend, you're my family. That was supposed to be a powerful moment, right?
Yes. You don't get that. And then also display other emotions. I felt like when she was just displaying Katara, there were times she came off very one note, like she didn't know what kind of emotions to emote in a certain scene. Mm-hmm. And it's still a child, like, and she's still a child. So she should have a range of emotions that she's feeling at all times, because she's not adult enough to deal with it. And I felt like she wasn't able to emote in those ways. Now, a part of that could also be the writing, because I also felt like the writing wasn't very strong. There was the dialogue. Yeah, it wasn't very, like, it was choppy. It wasn't, it threw a lot of stuff in your face. I think they were explaining way too much that didn't need to be explained in order to get things across. Well, you wouldn't understand it.
Everybody was speaking so literal.
Yes, literal.
It made no sense. Like, it was boring. Yes. Mm-hmm. It was so boring to listen to. There needs to be more show and less talk.
Explain the expositions of what's going on.
People are smart. We can figure it out. Just show me. Don't talk about things. Don't explain everything. Oh my gosh.
What totalitarian states look like. Show us. We don't need you to keep telling us about what those.
That was a big mistake. I don't understand why they wasted time on things like that.
Because they don't do that. Yeah, and I don't want to compare it to the show, but they're writing it in the show. They don't do that. It's all.
Yeah, my brother, we were watching it together, and he kept going, "Oh my gosh, this should have been longer. The first season was longer." And I was like, "Well, keep in mind, the first season also had like 24-minute episodes."
Yeah, and they're 20. It's not the same length if you think about it.
Yeah, these are hour-long episodes, but I feel like they're spending more time on things that all this talking,
yep,
instead of just showing what is actually going on. I did not like the script for a lot of this, so I'm glad you mentioned it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and I think that was a big issue, but also you're right, that she was, for me, I think, the biggest issue. I loved Sokka. I think it's Ian Alsey, I think is the name of the actor. I think he did great with what he's given. Again, the big talk right before they aired it was that they neutered the character because, yes, in the animated series, he does come off a bit chauvinistic. Women can't fight, all this stuff. And Suki puts him in his place very early on, and he learns and grows. And that's the benefit. That's the beauty of his character. So I hate that they like, we're going to take all that away. But why can't he still be a flawed character like that and grow in the show? That, I think, was a disappointing move on their half. Like, they're trying to appease our current, like, social culture. Like, no, we don't need to show people like that, but they still exist. So yes, we need to show them, but then show how they grow and change. There's no reason we have to change his character completely because you're afraid that people are going to be mad because he thinks that women can't fight and he makes dumb jokes because he's a 14-year-old.
You can say sexist. I think it's okay for characters like that is a very trophy thing in anime and in animated shows to have over sexist characters. As long as there's change and as long, I think, it's weird, right? And it's got to be weird for production companies and writers to be like, okay, do we put somebody like that? Because there's that weird borderline of like, that's borderline perverted, right? Like Sanji could be, I mean, if Sanji had been the way he is in the anime, it would have been hashtag cancel Sanji in season 1. Like it did not happen. Like you can't do that. So I think, it's almost like they're scared to take a chance with characters like that. Because characters like that you don't see in movies and shows anymore. They were all over the place in the 80s when I was growing up in cartoons and movies and TV shows. Nowadays, you don't really see them.
No, you don't. So that was one of the issues, but I loved the actor. Aang, I was really hesitant at first. He's growing on me. And the way he delivers some of his lines actually reminds me of the way that Daniel Radcliffe used to deliver his lines in like Sorcerer's Stone. But Chris Columbus, the way they adapted that just seemed a little bit tighter. So it was, it was okay that even though Daniel Radcliffe's acting was...
Has that kid done any acting in the past? I'm not sure. I've never
Gordon
seen
Cormier has done a little bit. He was Joe in The Stand, the TV miniseries, The Stand, that came out in 2020. He was also in that.
There was a Stand miniseries?
Yes. He also, it looks like he was only like an extra in that Lost in Space series that got canceled that Netflix had.
Oh, I was digging that series. Yeah.
But it looks like he hasn't been in a ton of stuff. A couple of Christmas movies from like Hallmark, it looks like. So I don't know if that counts.
Okay.
But relatively new actor.
This is kind of his big break. This is like a lead character role. Yeah. Okay.
But I think like he started getting better as the season progressed. But in the beginning, I wasn't quite sure. But he has potential. I would worry about Katara though.
I think it's a matter of like having these kids comfortable around each other, the actors, I mean, and also it's hard to be joyful and bountiful and full of life when you're flying around as an actor, especially a little kid. I'm sure you're tied up to like all these things like harnesses. And you're like, okay, how am I supposed to be like a bubbly little kid? They're like, yeah, pretend like, just be a kid and have fun. Like you could really fly. I'm sure that's really hard to do when you're a little child actor and you're scared you're going to fall to your death.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, like, when it came to the acting, it was really like, Katara was my biggest issue. That was the biggest disappointment. And then the writing, like I said, and I think that maybe for some of the actors, the writing is like, I mean, they delivered the best they could given what they were given, right? And whatever direction they were given as well by the directors of the episodes. So those are some of the biggest issues I have. Yeah, there were some minor visual effects issues. Like we talked about June, when she jumps off of her little anteater creature.
The anteater creature looked rough.
It was clear that was not, that was total like green screen. But then there's other effects that are really good.
I was gonna say the sets and the
gorgeous.
The clothing, the all the armor and the weapons, solid. I thought they did a really good job with that. And like as far as the sets that they actually built, they looked good.
Yes.
But there were some special effects that, especially in this fight scene, some of them were really good, and then some of them just did not look good at all.
Yeah. I will say the ocean monster that Aang becomes definitely looked a lot like the one from the cartoon.
The big creature at the end.
Yes. Yeah, but those are the biggest issues I had with it. Now, I will say there were some standout actors, and you had mentioned Ken Luang as General Zhao. I think he just,
solid. That guy's solid.
He took it and just ate it up. So you talked about.
I saw an interview with him where he thought he was what's it called? He was auditioning for Avatar.
Oh, like the Avatar.
the Avatar movie. He was like, I thought I was gonna be a blue character.
Oh God. Well, I mean, to be fair, would you rather be a guy you don't have to dress up in like makeup and stuff?
No, but that guy brings it. I think like he's always been a really good, not talked about actor. Like not a lot of people talk about how good he is. He's got range, and he was
Yeah,
solid in this.
he was really solid.
He was solid. It was he was in Rush Hour. I knew he was in Rush Hour.
Yes.
He was the first villain in the first Rush Hour movie. He was
This is
also
what
in
we're
the
talking about,
Inhumans. He
guys.
played Karnak, so he was part of the MCU at one time.
Yep, there he is.
Ken Leung.
Ken Leung, yeah. I mean, you talked about Dallas Liu, which is the actor who played Zuko. I thought he was solid alongside of the actor who played
He was good.
his Uncle Iroh. They together.
Yeah, Uncle Iroh looked, I think, the most.
Oh yeah.
Like the closest to his animated counterpart.
And he did a good job of acting like that guy too. Like wanting to go eat all the time and just being so calm and there for his nephew. They did a really good job. And they were some of my favorite parts of the live action series for sure.
So I think, for me at least, I think the camera work was really good. I think the lighting, I hate to talk about lighting, guys. I know everybody remembers the way that I talked about Catwoman. I think that was the only good thing about it. I thought they did a pretty good job because, we're used to the MCU movies of Phase 3, where all the fighting sequences took place in the dark, and I thought it was well balanced here. I thought there was plenty of lit up areas and then some dark areas, but not dark like House of the Dragon HBO shows dark. You can see the actual action sequences take place in the fighting. The choreography was actually pretty solid in a lot of the fights without the special effects, without the flames, without the water. Again, the costumes I thought looked good.
Yes.
But the look of the world, I felt it. Like if I wasn't, if I hadn't seen the animated show, the look of the world, it looks huge. Like how big is this world when they're flying around, and every place looks different. I did like that about it. The music, there were moments in the music that sounded like it came from the animated show.
Oh, it did. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Oh yeah, 100%. And so Jaden was talking about how he thought Iroh was too stoked or stiff. So that's what I think comes back to Omar's comment about who is this show for? Because they did tone down the humor in the show. Like even when Sokka is making his jokes, it's still he's able to do it deftly with that sarcastic wit that he has, but it is a lot more toned down than what I envisioned his cartoon counterpart doing it as. And I think that comes into play were they trying to go for a more dramatic air with this show, given that they're thinking, okay, well, we already have an animated show that the kids can go and watch, but the people who grew up with the show, let's give them something that's more adult. I don't know if that's what they were aiming for, but in order to do that, you do got to kind of ground the characters and make them not as exaggerated as their animated counterparts, right? I think that's where those differences lie, and that's the reason they chose to use some of those differences. But for what it's worth, that actor still kicked ass. I mean, he was still great.
Let's see what else did we want to talk about? Special effects worked in some parts and didn't really work in other parts. They kind of looked off. It's gotta be hard, right? Because you're talking about special effects using all of the elements. You have a kid that can fly around. You have a giant creature that flies around. It's gotta be difficult to make it super believable. I did appreciate a lot of the practical effects that they were using in here, though.
Yeah,
I thought that was a nice touch, and that goes a long way. And you mix in practical effects with CGI, it works.
Yeah. The other thing I did want to point out is I talked about the writing, but I think also in the way they structured the story, because they had to combine elements, and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. And I think like the middle episodes to me, it was the combination of the Omashu and the Mechanist and the Jet storyline. Like those were all separate storylines with their own episodes in the first season. And they meshed them all together where the Mechanist is living in Omashu and all that stuff. And Jet's also there. And it felt like it didn't really work for me. Like they almost needed to be separate individual like journeys that they went on their way to the north. So that was the only issue. That was another issue when it came to the writing. It's the way
that's a little more of the pacing, right?
Yeah, it came with the pacing.
Yeah,
And
I think that was a problem with one of the problems I had was the pacing of the show
yeah,
too. Hold on a second. Y'all never seen Never Ending Story? It's super doable to make a kid on a flying thing loom real. I love you, Alex, and I love Never Ending Story. When I get drunk, you can ask my wife what I yell out the window. But that green screen does not fool anybody. Even my kids, we rewatched it last year with the kids, and they were like, "You thought this was real, Poppy, when you were a kid?" I was like, "Shut up." Nostalgia goes a long way. The flying in Avatar: The Last Airbender looks a lot better than the flying in Never Ending Story. I'm gonna go ahead and say that.
Yeah, that does. Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, the special effects. I don't think it was a good mesh. It didn't feel like I'm grabbing water. Like whenever there was a body of water, right? Like a well or whatever she was around, it really felt like a superimposed water like image, and then they morphed it with CGI, of course. And then I think they needed to do a better job of like meshing that together. I'm not saying they should create technology to make it better. God knows how much money they spent on this show already. But that's small little nitpicking.
Yeah, because you could get bending like this. Look at that.
Okay, that's animated there,
I know.
Amanda.
But look at him. I'm sorry.
So the real question. Oh my God, dude! I actually last year Never Ending Story got lost out to something.
Oh, you did your 80s. It was like fantasy 80s.
I went with fantasy 80s for my birthday month, and it lost out to something. I put Labyrinth, Never Ending Story, Lady Hawk, and something else.
Munchausen on there too.
Oh, Baron Munchausen! How did Baron Munchausen lose? That's a masterpiece.
What did win? Was it Conan? No.
Oh, it was Conan. Okay, Conan is a good movie though. I'm glad you loved it.
Women. I was like, okay, this is.
Oh my God, what a great movie. Okay, back to this.
Anyways,
the real question is, Amanda, I'll ask you the same thing that I asked you when we reviewed One Piece. If this was a Netflix show that you stumbled upon, would you continue watching it? If you didn't know the source material, you didn't know was anything, before, would you continue watching
the show?
Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yeah, if you caught the first episode, if you had watched the first episode, you're like, what is this Netflix show?
I probably would have. I would, if I had known nothing about the animated series itself, never watched it. Yes, I probably would have started watching and probably kept watching it. Yeah, to be honest, because it has a lot of elements in it. With the bad acting besides, and if I didn't know the source material, it could just be
this is your kind of show. Is what I'm
the character should supposed to be like, right? I would have kept watching to see where it goes. I would have watched all 8 episodes to see where it had gone. If I hadn't, I mean, I still did, but even if I was a new person to the Avatar universe, I probably would have watched it. Yeah.
I think if my kids had started watching it and I sat down with them, I think I would have been. Yeah, well, what is this? I think so. I think the world would have grabbed me.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, saying that, then I guess it wasn't a horrible show.
No,
it wasn't a bad show. I actually enjoyed aspects of it. And I kind of want a second season. And I think they have come a long way as far as adapting anime and animated shows and video games. Well, knock on wood, we still have to see Kate Blanchett in Borderlands. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it makes me excited for the future of adaptations, and I've come to just learn that I get it. I get why adaptations are necessary sometimes, or why they do it. Doesn't mean that I have to go and watch every one of them, especially those Disney live action ones, because I haven't seen a single one of those unless you make me.
I've given up.
So let's see. Out of 10, Amanda, what would you give Avatar: The Last Airbender? And anybody that's watched season 1.
Yeah, so for me, I would give this a 6.5 out of 10. I do want to see where it goes. I mean, I don't know if they're getting a second season. From what I've read, they haven't announced the second season yet. if they're going to, they should sue, because these kids, again, like the Stranger Things kids, aren't getting any younger. But they can at least like lie their way through the passage of time in this magical world to make them age, right? We don't know how long it takes them to develop their powers and do all this stuff. You can't do that in Stranger Things. They're in high school, and high school only goes a year at a time. But I would like to see work. I would like to see if they learn from, if they see the reviews and what the response is, and they learn from it and say, okay, maybe let's try this for the next season. I don't know, Ari.
Ari, you can do whatever you want to, buddy. Go ahead and give me your rating.
Yes. So that's what I would think. I want to see if they would take the criticism and then apply it to the second season and then see what we get. The second season has a lot of great storylines. We're introduced to a lot of amazing new characters. Yeah, so I would, and I love the ending of season two. It's fantastic. So yeah, I want to see where it goes. Now, will I still be watching the animated series in the meantime? Yes, I will. In fact, we are doing that right now. My daughters are very enthralled in watching it. So
yeah, I think it's 6 out of 10 for me.
there you go.
I there were issues with it, and some of it worked though, and I enjoyed aspects of it. So I guess that's that's important in the show. Really quick, I just want to point out 7 out of 10 from our buddy Kane, who liked it. 6 out of 10. Zuko and Iroh are boosting up the score major. Oh yeah, I thought both of those guys were killer. 6.5 out of 10. 6 out of 10. I think season 2 will be a stronger outing. I think the kids will have also grown, right? The chemistry between the kids.
Have some acting coaches. Yeah, I'm thinking.
Give it a Dune Part 2 out of 10. We got to figure out a way to see Dune together and review it. 5 out of 10 in case that is. Fist of the North Star film with Gary Daniels from the 90s, Omar. Oh, dude, you're talking to somebody that loves Canon Pictures. I don't like that movie, but I saw it. I think I prefer the Guyver movie, the one with Mark Hamill, a little more. Are we getting a third series of the animated one? I think that's what Kane was talking about earlier. Somebody was talking about that Nickelodeon wants to give them money to do a movie to tell another story, but it's not a series, right?
Yeah. Then it wouldn't be a series. I think it'd be like a movie of whatever happens in between Aang and Korra, I think, which would be a very fascinating. Like, how do they get to the world that Korra lives in, which is a very steampunk era when they're like living like nomad. Like, there's such a vast difference between the two worlds. I would like to see how the passage of industrialization takes place. That would be amazing.
I need a cameo of the Rock parodying himself while shouting the boulder.
Oh, that would be a fantastic cameo. Yes, I love that.
Oh, so you're saying they're planning on doing this as based on the next Avatar, but it'll be a distant future. 6 out of 10. So this was an occult. I'm never gonna live that down. 6 out of 10, man. Avatar new animated movie, October 10th, 2025. You heard it here first from James Abel. And if it doesn't come out, go yell at James. I'll say one thing. The stuff they added with Zuko and Iroh, I actually really like, especially getting the interactions. I see. I haven't seen the show in so many years. I don't remember that, but I like Zuko and Iroh together, and like their flashback stories, and just
you don't see that a lot.
Especially getting the interactions with Iroh and Ozai, which in my honest opinion is biggest wasted opportunity of the OG.
No, yeah, and I see that too, because we know what happens with Uncle Iroh, but you don't ever see him and his brother ever interact in the animated series. You do get to see a little bit of what happens to Zuko, right, and his mother and all that stuff, but yeah, not so much but that's because they were focusing on the main characters so much, and so our side characters didn't get that much love. But
they're still going strong and running. All right, Manda, you gotta wake up early tomorrow to fly out. So let's wrap it up for today. The SAG Awards were yesterday. Really quick. Wow.
That's a Devil Wears Prada reunion, and they even
that's why that's here. Okay, I was like,
realize so the SAG Awards were on. You can watch them on Netflix still. They live streamed on Netflix, which is really cool. First time you ever get to see that. And a lot of expected stuff. Oppenheimer won for Best Cast Ensemble for a movie. So it's safe to say they're probably, because these are really good, usually pretty good indicators for the Oscars, because usually the same voting pool of people. So safe to assume that Oppenheimer will probably win the Best Picture Oscar. Let's see. As far as the Cillian Murphy won, Robert Downey Jr. won. Now Lily Gladstone did win for Best Female Lead Actress in a movie, not Emma Stone. And Emma Stone's been winning this whole time in all the other awards. So that's gonna really just upset the whole apple cart. So I don't know going in who's gonna be the winner of that award come Oscar time.
Look at that.
Yeah, they had a lot of reunions on the SAGs, which is really great.
That's cool.
They showed like right before they showed like Return of the King winning for Best Cast Ensemble, and they brought them out. Elijah Wood apparently wasn't even there. I don't remember, but he wasn't there. He wasn't able to make it. Him and Vigo, and so seeing him and Sean Astin come out, I actually teared up when I was watching it, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing. This is beautiful." They did the Devil Wears Prada reunion, which is really cute because
I'm more excited about this. I've never seen the Devil Wears Prada, so I'm more excited about this reunion right here.
Yeah, well, it was really cool because those at least Emily Blunt, she's gone on and like her career has skyrocketed, and she was
yeah, she's gonna be Sue Storm, isn't she?
Yeah, no. But yeah, it was really cool because Meryl Streep played like she was acted like the whole like she pretended like she fell into the body.
She was the character?
No, well, she didn't act like she's a character. She acted like she needed glasses. She forgot the envelope, and all of a sudden, the girls walk out. One has the glasses, one has the envelope, and Anne Hathaway is wearing a blue cerulean dress with a belt. Which the first big scene of her and Miranda, which is Meryl Streep's character, Miranda goes on about her blue cerulean sweater, about this blue cerulean belt. It's a dress, a whole thing. And then the girls were reciting lines of Miranda Priestley's in the in their little like monologue thing they were doing. So it was very cute. But they had the Breaking Bad cast all came back out. They all did a reunion. Modern Family did one.
I'm not a Breaking Bad guy, so
you weren't a Breaking Bad fan. But I think
give me a Sopranos reunion for all the folks that are still amazing. Around. We lost a lot of them already. Really quick, let me get this from Bruce. Since you brought up Conan, thank you, Bruce, for the super chat. My brother just bought the 4K disc. Looks amazing. I was thinking about that. Did they have is it just Conan, or do they have Conan the Destroyer too in 4K? Do a poll. We'll do a poll. I am gonna do a poll because Amanda's working out of town next week, so we can't do a show. Yes. And we are going to watch Dune and review it. But next week, the week after next, is the beginning of March. So that is my birthday month where I get to pick and decide, or actually you all do, get to pick and decide the movies we watch. And yes, one of them will be a horror movie. One of them will be my favorite anime from a particular, because last year we watched Akira, right? You had never seen Akira. I love doing those shows. You had never seen Conan. I love making you watch movies that you had never seen.
I don't know a horror movie, but okay.
Oh, no, we gotta make it. We gotta make it.
Watch it in the middle of the day when I forget about it.
You're gonna watch it in the middle of the night. It'll be a what's it called? A Patreon exclusive. Come separate or both. Yes to 4K. Ooh, yes.
Nice.
Yes. Thank you for that. Thank you. Do a Brendan Fraser movie month. You hear me, Brandon? Okay, that might be October. Amanda and Omar heard rumors recently of a new Swamp Thing movie. Do either of you know anything about this? Is it still in the works? I thought that project got canceled.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. I mean, I know that he's neck deep in the production now of Superman Legacy. So we did get a cool picture of the cast. Nicholas Hoult shaved his head. Very exciting stuff.
I saw that picture.
I'm looking forward to this. I'm excited.
Reading Akira manga was mind-blowing since there was so much more to it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because he hadn't finished it, right? Like, he was still working on the Akira manga. He took a break to go work on the movie, which is just crazy. James Manfold is working on it. Good. The $13 tier. Watch Omar. Amanda and Omar watch horror movies. And oh, my God.
At midnight? Why would you do that?
I love that. The true midnight, 12:30. What? Amanda didn't get a birthday month since December. That's 2 months ago. This is her next birthday month will be in this December. She shares it with baby Jesus. Mango is perfectly honest. He's a huge Swamp Thing fan. Anything else, Amanda, before we sign off tonight?
No, like Omar said, we are not going to be doing a show this Wednesday because I am out of town for my actual job. So unfortunately, I cannot do a show, but we will be watching Dune hopefully next weekend so that we can review it. Dune 2, very excited. And yeah, then we'll be back the following Wednesday with your regularly scheduled program and whatever the heck Omar lets you guys go.
Whatever the heck is right.
Whatever it is. And yeah, we will make Omar watch The Proposal. It is now my mission that he watches it.
No, I don't have to watch it. You have to wait until December. Going to watch Evil Dead 2 with my girlfriend. Oh, I love that movie, man. You enjoyed that. Okay. Sign us out, Amanda.
Awesome. All right. So you guys have, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Remember to follow us on all of our social media channels at nearmintcon. Remember to check us out on Spreadshop for some great Near Mint Edition merchandise. And also check us out on Patreon for $1 a month or more. You can support us here in what we do and get some really cool perks along the way. And last but not least, if it's classy and cool, it must be Near Mint. Good journey till all are one. And we will see you all next time.
That's right. Next time.